What's up, guys? It's your evocative, provocative, talkative host, EJ here, the big kahuna. If you can't tell by my voice and the earlier video I put up today, I am going through hay fever. It is spring, that wonderful season. This happens to me about twice a year, where my allergies just kick up into overdrive and I get to deal with having kind of a scratchy throat, runny nose all day. It's fantastic. Everyone should try it. Seriously, it's just the best. Pollen is a wonderful thing. Everyone should be allergic to the color green. It really reminds you where you are in life. Anyway, with that said, I'm going to try and struggle through this. Just wanted to bring a quick update because a few things have happened in the past week with regards to superhero movies. For one thing, Captain Marvel hit $1 billion in total box office revenue, so they have made money on the movie. If you look at the budget that they had, the marketing campaign, it looked like it was going to be about $750 million to make money on Captain Marvel. And I said going into it that, before the movie released, I said, yeah, it's probably going to make about, it's probably going to make some money for them. It's not going to be a cataclysmic failure. It might not engender quite the rabid passion that most of these Marvel movies have in the past, and in a way it did, and in a way it didn't. It certainly got its set of detractors and supporters. Most people found it fairly mediocre for a superhero movie. Most people found it something of a meh coming out of it. Not super heavy-handed on the messaging, but also not particularly good at portraying likable characters or a compelling narrative, and I think that's what we could have expected from it. So, on the one hand, you had meh as the response, and on the other hand, you had this woman is a queen, and we must do everything we can to defend her. We cannot criticize her, and we saw as well with the re-release on Netflix of The Unicorn Store. Note, re-release. The movie actually debuted in 2017. Netflix picked up the rights and started advertising it after Captain Marvel had a couple good weeks at the box office, as though it were a new movie. So watch out for that. People will say, "Hey, you're just getting on her because you're just getting on her case because you hate female superheroes." No, that's not the case. We're getting on it because Netflix is capitalizing on her success, and that's what's going on there. So, excuse me again. So watch out for that. Captain Marvel, financial success. I'm happy for him. That means most of the cast and crew did well. Brie Larson and Disney had their money in the bag before the movie released, really, because of the second piece of news I want to talk about, which is the Endgame. Had a new sneak peek drop about 2 or 3 days ago. We got a little look at Thanos back in his armor, which was something I think we were missing in Infinity War. I wanted to see him in his full gold armor, and we didn't really get that after he torched the Asgardian ship, which was disappointing. But anyway, that dropped. It looks like they're going for a much more serious tone, which is good. The entire first movie, and I say first movie, I understand that means Infinity War, the first big Thanos movie, spent most of its time really just kind of goofing off. Everything was a joke or a quip. Nothing was taken seriously until Thanos snapped. Once the snap happened, suddenly we were all serious, but up until that point, Tony Stark never shut his mouth and got serious. Spider-Man kept making stupid jokes. I don't like the humor they've given Spider-Man now. Initially it was good, but now all he seems to do is make pop culture references and call movies that aren't that old and a nerdy kid would recognize as not that old. He's calling like Empire Strikes Back and Aliens that old movie. When a kid his age would probably know going into it that, yeah, everybody's seen those. So it's kind of this weird fake nerd cred appeal that I'm not a big fan of when he's not doing his own movie. But anyway, it looks like they're going for a much more serious take on the events and on the film as a whole, which I wholeheartedly approve of. I think Thanos should be taken seriously. I think a guy who can wipe out half the universe with a snap of his fingers is not someone to make quips about and say, oh, if you throw another moon at me, I'm going to lose it. That was a dumb line. there should have been a lot more respect for him, especially if Tony has been plagued all this time by visions of Thanos. He probably should have treated his opponent with a little more respect, so I didn't feel too bad when he got stabbed, and I was a little disappointed when the stabbing didn't stick. Anyway, we only saw very little of Captain Marvel, and she didn't get a speaking line, which I'm okay with, in that sneak peek. But overall, I'm kind of excited. The movie comes out in, 2 weeks now? So, that's a big deal. I do like that they've kind of been keeping a lid on a lot of things with Endgame. They're staying very close-lipped because they understand, just as they did with Captain Marvel, that they don't need to massively overhype this movie for it to succeed. With Captain Marvel, they were talking up a big game because they knew they'd face resistance and they just wanted to earn some brownie points. But if you look at Endgame, and really the reason they released Captain Marvel when they did, it wasn't just like, oh, hey, we're going to celebrate National Women's Day. They're like, hey, there's 6 weeks till Endgame if we release it here, so we really only have to do a little bit of work. We just have to hope, give it 6 weeks. That's enough for either a success or a failure in the box office, and then people will very swiftly forget about it and move on and go back to being excited about Endgame. So they know what they're doing. And yeah, they've been very smart, keeping the advertising fairly low. We don't know a whole lot going into this movie, aside from the Avengers are getting back together, and there's probably going to be time travel involved. So yeah, that's, what, I'm okay with that. I'm 100% behind that notion. I think this is going to be, I think it's going to be an exciting movie. I think hopefully it'll be a fitting send-off for the characters we know and love, and it will it'll tie up enough threads and close enough doors that I won't feel bad for not seeing any other MCU movies, because none of them look interesting, and it sounds like they're building it around wooden characters like Captain Marvel, who are really less characters and more just Death Stars with pouty faces. Anyway, last piece of news before I let you go is Shazam released this weekend. Shazam is looking like it's going to be a very fun movie. Reviews are in that it is, it's got a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes last I checked. IMDb has it at an 8 out of 10. So people like the movie. People are going to see it. People are enjoying it, which is always positive. And with that, I'm going to see it on Sunday. I haven't seen it yet. I will post a review. I will write up a review and record it for you guys. I'll post that once I've gone and seen it and digested it, talked it over with my brother, who always has a really interesting opinion about these things. And I always love bouncing ideas off of him because he catches stuff that nobody else does. But anyway, with Shazam, a lot of the reaction has been very positive. A lot of the reaction has been that it's not as serious as The Dark Knight or Man of Steel. It's not as serious as even Aquaman. It's a very fun movie. It doesn't take itself too grimly. It's about a kid having fun and enjoying the fact that he has superpowers. And, I think superheroes have a lot of responsibility, and there's a lot of weight that comes with their job, but too often we forget flying is awesome. There's this attitude, I think, in modern superheroes that they can't have fun being superheroes. We can't enjoy being good guys anymore. And I think that's something that we need to... Shazam kind of evaluates and says, well, but if a 10-year-old got superpowers, he'd be over the moon. So I love Zachary Levi. I have always, with Chuck, I've always loved that show. I've been with him since there. I think Dr. Sivana looks suitably intimidating. I think it's going to be a fun movie, a little on the goofy side. It's not going to be super dramatic, and I'm okay with that. I'm going to see it, like I said, Sunday afternoon, so we'll have a review for that. All that said, I don't think Shazam's going to fail. I think it might, with any luck, if the word of mouth is good, it might break 1 billion, just like Aquaman did. I'm a little worried, though. I don't think... I think with Endgame coming out in a couple weeks here, it might struggle a little bit. It might lose some ground. So we'll see. Hopefully it has a very positive next couple of weeks. And yeah, with all that said, I'll stop rambling now. Have a great day, guys.